Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we've got more rumors about the future of Star Wars. Somehow the Disney sequel trilogy has returned. They're talking that they're going to produce a sequel to the Disney Star Wars sequels. Nobody wants this. Nobody has asked for it except maybe some Reylos. Well, not even Reylos, because spoiler, they killed off Kylo Ren. So,
right, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're smoking. We're going to talk about this. This, of course, is the news about the Damon Lindelof's new movie and or trilogy and or series or whatever the hell they're doing with Star Wars. They don't even know if they're doing with Star Wars. This is a day after it was reported that Kathleen Kennedy was told to shut up about announcements. So she had somebody else announce it for her. And watch it all fall apart because of creative differences.
I don't know, but the rumor is they're gonna continue the sequel trilogy, and I'm like, how are they gonna do this?
God,
are they gonna have another chosen one? Because the last chosen one wasn't gonna be choosy enough. Being a woman's not good enough now.
I don't know. We gotta do Jedi plus Ultra. We gotta do So I don't know. Maybe Rey will go Super Saiyan.
Maybe they'll assassinate Rey like they did Luke.
Yeah, I would like to see them treat Rey as badly as they treated Luke.
That's right, but they won't. And Disney keeps doubling down on the stupidity, and it's not working.
Yeah, so let's talk about this, what could be and why it shouldn't be. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, over 278,000 subs.
We did, yay!
God, finally. Yeah, finally. So yeah, we don't talk about Star Wars nearly as much as we used to because we've kind of given up hope.
It makes me sad. We were watching was it Toys That Built America? Last night, and they had the new episode, which was supposed to be about He-Man, but it ended up being more about Star Wars. But I'm watching this, and I'm watching the excitement around the originals, and I'm watching the pictures of the originals, and they were cheesy looking sometimes, but they were like what we grew up on. And it just breaks my heart even more. I could just sit there and cry because I was so upset.
Yeah, they actually are bringing the original figures back again. Yes. I mean, I know that they're doing like Disney Plus show characters as retro Kenner figures, but they're actually bringing the Kenner figures back because that's where the money is.
Right, that's what sells. We keep seeing that the classic Star Wars is what sells merchandise.
Yeah, and look, everything that the sequels have touched has turned to crap. I mean, I'm going to be honest. It's not
John Boyega's not coming back.
Well, money talks. You know,
know,
Russell T Davies wasn't coming back to Doctor Who, but money talks. David Tennant wasn't coming back. Money talks. So we did an article a couple of years ago about how Disney has mismanaged Star Wars, and we cited all the examples of the declining sales. All the backlash from fans over the treatment of classic characters, the original trilogy characters, the fact that, originally Galaxy's Edge landed with a thud because it was based on the sequels.
Well, we have the Galactic Star Cruiser. They can't fill rooms because they based it on the sequels and no one cares.
It's not just us. There are other media outlets that aren't tied to those toxic YouTubers. They're saying Star Wars has made the wrong movies. They made the wrong choices. And they've had to walk it back. With Luke Skywalker, they had to try to bring back proper Luke in The Mandalorian. And it seems like every time Lucasfilm takes a step in the right direction, they take 3 steps back. Like, okay, The Mandalorian's doing pretty good. It's classic Star Wars. We're trying to fix Luke Skywalker. We're giving fans what they want. And then we're going to F it up with the Gina Carano situation.
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett just being a complete waste of time. People were excited about Obi-Wan, but then we're going to switch out Luke for Leia, which makes no sense. And they just can't get their poodoo together.
Okay, here's the thing. They get their poodoo together. I'm just going to be blunt. If they would just stop, they would go for story first and agenda and politics second. I'm not talking about politics like always have been political in Star Wars. Yes, I'm talking about identity politics and the check boxes and all forced diversity. If you can have a diversity in the show, you can do that. They've done it before in Star Wars, and it was great. The difference was story was first, characters had to be diverse. Now it's we're gonna push check boxes and then make story secondary. If you stop doing that and you stop insulting the old school fans and attacking old school fans, and if you stop trying to destroy Luke Skywalker in every way you can, including putting X's on his face at Lucasfilm and things like that, and just try to build upon the legacy instead of trying to ruin the legacy or redo the legacy, you probably get a hell of a lot further. Just go ask, Filoni and Favreau.
Yeah, I mean, this is so easy. This is why I don't understand about all these franchises that have been defaced and desecrated over the last.
I'm telling you why.
5 years. It's so easy. Just give fans what they want.
Hire people that care about the source material who don't want to just undo it for their own image.
If I were in charge of Lucasfilm, which will never happen, but if I were in charge of Lucasfilm and I would walk through the cubicles and I would see somebody have big X's all over Luke Skywalker's face, I'd be like, what the hell are you doing? Mm-hmm. If I saw plans to produce a cartoon short where Luke gets slapped around by Leia.
For no reason,
where they pushed Leia to do things in the cartoon she did not do in the movies, just to belittle Luke and Han, I'd be like, what the hell are you doing?
If you're saying to me, I want a new hero at the center of this movie, but I want it to be a woman this time. Okay, cool. You take the original cast and you take Luke and you pay respects to them and you have them work with the new character until she has to go off on her own. And that way she earns her position and people build fan goodwill on this character instead of what you did. It could have worked in so many ways, but you picked the way to piss people off as the way you went.
It's not because people have problems with women being strong characters in Star Wars by any stretch of the imagination. No. I mean, hell, beyond Leia, who they've really pushed Leia very hard, over Luke. Beyond Leia, Ahsoka Tano was embraced by fans. At first, a lot of people didn't like her. They thought she was kind of a Mary Sue character, whatever. She was annoying, whatever. She came into her own. People were very happy when she came back in The Mandalorian. And if you're going to talk about diversity, we've got Rosario Dawson, who is black and bisexual, playing the character, and people love.
But you never hear about that because it's about the character, not about that. And that's why you fuck up. I'm sorry, but that's flat out what your biggest problem is.
So here we are. You can trace almost all of the damage to Star Wars back to the sequel trilogy. I mean, again, they had one thing they had to get right. They only had to do one thing, and that was get Han, Luke, and Leia in the same room for a couple of scenes, and they couldn't even do that. In fact, every film killed off one of the original trilogy characters.
Well, not just that. You have the end. Until the final, the Rise of Skywalker, you weren't getting everybody together like an ensemble cast. The reason Star Wars worked was because everybody, they had their moments where they were apart, but they all pretty much worked together.
Yeah.
And that wasn't what you were doing. And then even though you had that unity at the end of the first movie, you turned around and vilified the men in the second movie for no damn good reason other than, to raise up female characters people hated.
I never understood, I've only seen The Last Jedi once, and that's all I'm ever going to see it. I haven't watched all of the Rise of Skywalker.
Never watched any.
I've seen some clips on YouTube, and that's enough for me. But I'm like, when you had everybody kind of apart in the first movie, the second movie should have been them forming their family bond.
And working together.
And instead they split them up again.
But they vilified Finn and Poe right out of the gate.
Now, see, what I would have preferred, this is, again, I'm not in charge, but what I would have preferred is, because they were building Finn up to be the Jedi character.
Yes!
The movie started with Finn. And I would have been like, okay, Finn is the one who gets trained by Luke Skywalker. Rey falls to the dark side, and he's got to get Rey back. I think that would have been...
That would have been a much better story.
That would have been a much better story.
A Stormtrooper turned Jedi would have been...
Yeah, and he's like a screw up, but he's the one that has to bring Rey back from the dark side because she succumbs to Kylo Ren, and then they try to overthrow Snoke, but Snoke actually is somebody.
But at the end of Force Awakens, they have Finn standing up and fighting Kylo Ren with a lightsaber he has nothing about. And then they have him suddenly be afraid and a deserter and a coward and a piece of shit for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame John Boyega one bit for being pissed. I was pissed. I was like, wait a second. So this is a guy who overcame his fear, which I didn't understand anyway, because I'm like, he's a freaking stormtrooper trained from
brainwashed
from childhood to be a killer. But then they made jokes about him running the trash compactor or whatever. And so he goes from that to being like some doofus in a balloon suit when he wakes up and being a coward and trying to get the hell. I mean, it's like there's zero. I mean, they were trying to echo Han Solo trying to get the hell out of the rebellion, but he was doing that because he had a bounty on his head. That's why he was trying to get the hell out of the rebellion. Finn just was a coward. Mm-hmm. You know, like
there's made him a coward for no reason.
There's made him a coward. I mean, it makes no sense.
No, he tries to sacrifice himself they take his agency away by having Rose Tico knock his ship out of the way because I loves him. That goes nowhere in the next movie.
And then she's completely sidelined. Like none of it. Very simple. How hard was it to just get these movies to at least make sense? Like
there was no plan.
No plan. I mean, seriously, you could just sit down. Here's Post-it Note 1, Post-it Note 2, Post-it Note 3. Here's what happens in the first movie. Here's what happens in the second movie and the third movie.
And here's what we want. Here's where we're going.
Basically, where we're going.
What do we want to accomplish at each movie, and then what do we want to accomplish overall? They did none of that.
No, like I mean, God, seriously, like an independent, hole-in-the-wall comic book creator has a better idea of where their story is going than Disney that spent billions and billions of dollars on Star Wars.
And then by the final film, you've managed to piss everyone off because everybody can point to The Last Jedi as where the whole thing just broke in half. And then you had a group that loved Rian Johnson, including most of the critics in there. Rian Johnson's amazing because he made a movie we wanted to see, and maybe we're special too. And then you get to the final movie, and at that point, all the old fans are pissed. And then you piss off all the new fans too, and now you have nobody. So now your big plan is, let's make more of that.
So let's talk about, finally we'll talk about this. It's coming from the direct, and we'll go out to Twitter too. People have some golden reactions here. So again, we talked a little bit about yesterday that Damon Lindelof, oh boy, is involved in this thing, and they got a director from Ms. Marvel. They said it could have ties to episode 9, according to the direct, according to the Hollywood Reporter, following up on news regarding a newly confirmed Star Wars movie that's in development with details about the nature of it. They said it is said to take place after Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, and could feature some of the characters that starred in the sequel trilogy, because, we've got that expensive theme park.
Yeah, basically.
It's all going to take place, you watch, it's all going to take place on the Galactic Star Cruiser and Batuu.
Well, I was going to say, listen, they probably would do that because they've done it with other things. They've made these books and tie-ins and comics that are absolutely stupid, just to try to take the original trilogy and somehow tie it into the Galactic Star Cruiser. And they're saying it's all canon. So would they, in fact, make a movie just to promote? Hell, they put Batuu in the last movie, didn't they? The Rise of Skywalker didn't put Batuu in it? I thought they did. But I'm just like, they would totally do that and build a movie around their theme park.
They would. Now, here's what's so weird. Just to show you, like, the utter state of Star Wars, the utter chaos is Lucasfilm. They threw together a writer's room at Celebration. Like, they didn't even do it in Hollywood or at Skywalker Ranch or whatever. They're like, hey, yeah, let's go have an after party and we'll just brainstorm what we're going to do next, because we have no effing idea.
So they did that after Celebration. It was a 2-week session taking place in July. This is another one of those diversity and dinosaurs moments where there's a whiteboard and notice that no photo is leaked of that.
Well, it's the same with Marvel too. It's like, look, it's very clear, and it's got to be clear to Bob Chapek. Your people running these franchises have no plan. There is no plan. They got lucky. Bob Iger bought existing franchises that had massive built-in audiences, and then they somehow managed to piss off a good majority of them over the last couple of years. Obviously, Star Wars more than Marvel, but there's no plan. There's no plan for any of this.
So this meeting included Obi-Wan Kenobi consulting producer Raina McClendon. Right there tells you part of your problem. You had Obi-Wan, which would have been about, and originally it was supposed to be about Luke and Obi-Wan, which made fucking sense. And then they said they had to rewrite the whole damn thing. And then this person's involved, and it's about Leia and Obi-Wan, which makes no sense whatsoever. So that's going on. And then there's other people I don't know, Patrick Somerville and Andy
Dave Filoni dead last.
And Dave Filoni. But yeah, he's listed last. Dave Filoni's there. Did he like smack you on the side of the head and said, what the fuck's wrong with you?
I don't know if Dave Filoni has the power to do that.
I don't think but would he though? Because he's made some comments too that I'm like,
I think Dave Filoni knows his place. I mean, I think he's got. Look. Here's the truth. I think Favreau and Filoni have strong opinions about where Star Wars should go. I think they should be listened to, but I think they're also in the system where they're like, well, we work under Kathleen Kennedy, and we got this hierarchy here, and at the end of the day, she's the boss. If she F's everything up, it's on her. But they're not gonna do anything about it. They haven't done anything about it.
This meeting with this Lindelof had the person that was a consulting producer on Obi-Wan. Which they fucked up.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that person particularly, but just in general, they effed up.
Yeah, Obi-Wan.
Not necessarily that person.
God, then Lindelof, who was in charge of the Watchmen sequel that nobody wanted.
Right, because how many changes did he make for no damn good reason other than agenda and identity politics? And that's what's going to happen again. And I'm not saying that you cannot have characters that identify different ways or they're diverse. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is when you make that the main focus and not a good show, it's going to bite you in the ass and not in a fun way.
Like the Sarlacc pit. It's going to chomp your behind. Anyway, so they're talking about the widely loved Andor. I keep forgetting Andor exists. Is anybody actually watching Andor? You don't see.
They all keep saying it's beloved, but I don't.
I don't see any promotion for it. You don't hear about Andor at all. Like everybody's like, oh yeah, and also Andor. That shows you right there. Like Andor is getting lost in the shuffle. And I've heard from a couple people. They said Andor is actually the best of the Disney Plus shows, but it's getting lost in the She-Hulk drama. It's getting lost in the House of the Dragon versus Lord of the Rings.
And Disney's not trying to push it. That's the thing that's weird too.
No, they're not. They're just Andor.
Yeah. They don't even mention it. It barely gets mentioned.
And I've heard people say, and you'll have to tell me in the comments. People say it's actually not bad. The first couple episodes are boring, but by the time you get the third episode, it actually feels like proper Star Wars. But a lot of people, I think they were so burnt on the sequel trilogy, and then they came back for the Mandalorian. They're like, okay, Disney's learning, and then they get hit with Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, and it's just like, yeah, that's it. We had one last gasp of classic Star Wars, and now it's just all shit. So they're not going to come back, and they're definitely not going to come back for a sequel trilogy sequel. Forget that. Nobody wants that. I don't know. Let's look at some of the reactions here. You put this out here, and I thought some of them were pretty fun.
I said, so this movie will feature another chosen one. When they bring back a sequel character, will they make sure to completely ruin them to lift up the new character? Being a woman isn't enough now, so new character will need more check boxes to make sure they are better.
Yeah, we got to do that. We need something new so we can blame the fans for when it fails.
Yep. I'm out.
The only way to save the franchise is scrap everything and start again, but that won't happen. No, a lot of people were saying that they thought they were going to reboot Star Wars, but start with another Episode 7. And I mean, again, this is a prime example of just all the bullshit that has happened. Bob Iger basically promised George Lucas that they were going to use his outlines for 7, 8, and 9. That was one of the terms of the sale. Then they threw them in the garbage. Lucas has a lot of faults. He's not the best director. He definitely isn't good with dialogue, but if you took his basic story outline and had people work on that, it probably would have been pretty okay. But no, we couldn't do that.
I like this. They realized they forgot to kill Chewie, Lando, R2, and 3PO, so they got to revisit to tie up those loose ends.
Oh my God. They'll be killed off in the first 5 minutes. Yeah, they'll just load. We joked before. They're going to load everybody up into the Falcon, then they're going to blow up the Falcon.
That's right. End of the story.
That's when you hear a new unknown but very important character say, was that the ship with Lando, Chewie, R2?
Yes, pretty much. Norton one. That's funny. I can't wait to not watch it. I like this one. It'll focus on the grandchild of Jar Jar Binks, who identifies as a Wampa and goes around trying to unify all alien races together into a new utopia. They'll also have an Ewok sidekick who was the child of Wicket and his race Padawan.
Yeah,
Jar Jar.
Darth Jar Jar. So yeah, literally, like the same day, they're like, "Shut up, Kathy." They're like, "Oh yeah, here's his," but she didn't announce it. No, but she didn't announce the Headland one either. But I think she's behind it.
The next new Jedi chosen will be trained by Rey. There'll be a black trans lesbian bearded dwarf called Dildo on a quest to explore their girlhood by fighting the new Sith in their sparkly kyber crystal high heels. Please do not give them ideas. But I'm very certain they'll have a new hero and they will try to find more checkboxes to tick off with this new hero, for sure.
Oh God. I whatever. I mean, it's gotten to the point now where I have zero interest, zero hope, and it's so weird because we were again watching the Toys That Built America last night, and I used to get this like nostalgic tingle every time I'd see Kenner Star Wars toys.
I did,
and I just was like,
I still get the tingle.
I'm glad you still get the tingle. I don't tingle,
but what it's usually followed with is deep sadness. Like I get excited and then I get really, really, really sad. And then I start thinking about all the crap they've put out and how Star Wars was special because it wasn't like all the time and it was special. You could read the books and it was cool.
Yeah.
But now it's just like, it's just like you get it every day. It's no longer special.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes if you get it every day, you can make it special. You come up with creative ways to
eventually
make it
you just lie there and you're like, yeah, okay.
We are talking about Star Wars. Yes, we are. We are talking about Star Wars.
Yes.
But no, like because I used to always get like I'd see the vintage Kenner figures and I'd remember I have flashbacks to go in the hills when I was a kid, and that's
where the toys are.
That's where the toys were. Yeah, they literally had an entire aisle of Star Wars, pegs and pegs and pegs full of these figures. And like when I was really little, I didn't know because I didn't even see Star Wars. I was too young to see Star Wars in the theater when it first came out. I didn't see it until years later, but a lot of these like Cantina aliens and stuff, I had no idea who they were. I just thought they looked cool. Like, whoa, this one's name is Walrus Man. This one's name is Rat Dick.
We called him Buttface.
Buttface.
But here's the
mouth.
Okay, here's the thing. Most kids didn't get the Star Wars toys until the next year either.
Yeah,
they saw it in theaters. We're gonna be fair, but I remember going to Hills. But I remember mostly going for like Barbies and She-Ra and Glamour Gals. And I remember when Teddy Ruxpin came out and they had a big display behind like the plexiglass.
Yes.
You push the button and he'd talk. And I was like, oh, I'm too old for that kind of crap. And I also found him kind of creepy, but.
Yeah, he was behind glass so he didn't eat the children.
Right.
Yeah. And I remember the Cabbage Patch Kids and the empty end caps where the Cabbage Patch Kids were, except for the really, really, really ugly ones. Occasionally you'd have a couple really ugly ones that were left. The rotten Cabbage Patch Kids.
I just remember you couldn't find them. Anyway, this is neither here nor there. They're going to fuck it up.
Yeah.
When it comes to Star Wars.
Not the Cabbage Patch Kids, but Star Wars, yes.
So, don't get too excited yet because I can't think this is going to be who you making this for because you already pissed off the old fans. You've already pissed off the fans of The Last Jedi with Rise of Skywalker. Now you've successfully pissed everyone off. And I don't know where you're going to go with this.
Yeah, good luck with that. I won't be watching. I don't have any desire to watch anything based on the sequel.
You said you killed Kylo Ren, so the Reylos aren't going to be down with it. So
he'll come back as a Force ghost, and it'll be like. Well, there's a lot of celebrities now saying that they've had sex with ghosts, so I guess they could do. They could do.
Wait,
ghosts.
What?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, Yoda could burn things down with lightning now as a Force ghost, so I'm sure Kylo Ren could make Rey tingle.
Forced ejaculation.
I don't know. He could keep showing her his 8-pack.
He could. And
I mean, they weren't in the same room for that.
He could. He could like psychically touch her, and oh god, there's probably fanfic out there.
If there wasn't before, you just give
That's what they're
ideas.
gonna do. Hey, let's go out to Wattpad and find the worst fanfic, and we'll turn that into episode 10.
Pretty much.
God. All right, we're going to wrap this up.
Yeah, we could have wrapped up a while ago.
Please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.